So when Samantha's talking to me, I'm just like, just tell me who it is. Like, and she's literally like, I'm going the wrong way on the highway. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm just like, Samantha, I need you to pull over and I need you to breathe. And I had to like almost talk you down from an anxiety attack. And you just barely got the words out. And then we just landed right back in front of the house. And you said, Shawnee's dead. Welcome to the Inner Circle. What's going on, world? It's your girl, Amanda J, and we're back with another episode of the Inner Circle. So today, I decided to bring with me my longest standing friendship. And one of the things I definitely want to touch on is longevity in friendship. So I'm here to introduce you to my circle of 21 years. Introduce yourself, ladies.
My name is Shanice, also known as Shani Shakes.
My name is Dominique, also known as Dommy. My name is Samanthea, also known as Sammy, I guess.
My name is Robyn, also known as Robyn.
And we are the BGs.
We're not
The BGs.
We're not going to remove that. We're keeping that. We're keeping that. Like, how did she get there? So who's going to start the chat? Butcher, you know, we'll beat you for sure, because we're FRESH fresh. Other teams is definite. Right? It's definite that Brooks or Blazers are the shh. We're corny. And that was our chat.
What?
Was it grade 4?
4 or 5?
We were young.
Yeah,
but
and it stopped.
it was 20 years ago at least.
And
And we-
we first memory.
Exactly. So today, we are having quite a Southern meal, y'all. If you didn't get any, well, you didn't, but it's okay. So today, our meal is brought to you by, of course, Peppernice's Catering. We are having a collard greens with smoked turkey, a baked mac and cheese, and honey glazed cornbread. She did that.
The cornbread.
Yes. Our drink is brought to you by Meraki Mix. She is a local Black-owned, woman-led business here in the city of Toronto. So shout out to her. So before we get started, I do want to shout out Humanity. Our episode is sponsored by Humanity. Shout out to Humanity. Woo-hoo! All right, so let's dig in. Let's have a little taste.
Yes.
See how
me twice. Robyn went for a knife.
As did I.
But how do you guys like the food?
So
Amazing.
wonderful.
I love it.
I don't want to talk, actually.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have a conversation.
That's awkward about that.
So pretty much, the reason why I wanted to do this episode because I want to talk about longevity in friendship. I feel like oftentimes we get these New Year's resolutions, or we just kind of fade. Like friendships fade over time as we evolve as women, as we evolve in our careers, as we kind of go along different paths. People lose friendships and they lose sight of the people who were there from day one. And not always you need to carry everybody with you into your future, but these set of women have been here for 21 years. And I definitely want us to just kind of talk about the ebbs and flows. Like, it wasn't all peachy, okay? We had moments. Some were kicked out the group and then brought back in. I think we all had our hiatus at some point. But I definitely want us to kind of discuss like what it took to get to this level of friendship. So I guess could ask each of you like one thing that you think really allowed this friendship to stand the test of time. So yeah, anyone can start.
I don't do odd numbers.
We grew up in hell together at that school,
Yeah.
Brooks Road. And we chant about it. It was actually
what's the school in Matilda with Miss
Yeah. We were.
That school was,
We had no windows.
like no,
Yeah,
there were no windows
they
in the
didn't
classroom.
open.
The teachers used to beat us. Just 'cause-
Yeah.
But like, they
Used to
were
pee in the
like,
bucket.
They kinda-
they used to make us pee in buckets.
Yeah. We're not lying.
It was really ghetto. Our parents had no idea where they were sending us each day, but we had to like survive that together. And
Yeah.
I think going through that, you really come out battle movies. And the people who come out of it together, there's just this bond. That
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about everybody's evolution. So Shanice, tell your story.
you go right back down to
Yeah,
your
you
story.
start off with violence.
Well, okay, there's a little aggression.
You would
I
know.
just want to clarify, Robyn and I have known each other since we were 4. So we started there, and then I met these guys in grade 4, grade 5. One of Dominique as well. Oh my gosh, that's so rude.
Yeah.
In grade
Dominique.
1. We
See
get
what I mean?
Wow.
Lord sake.
I don't know why they're coming at me so much because
Easy target. Easy
as
target.
we said, we transitioned, but
Uh-huh.
we could say that I was a little bit of a bully sometimes,
A little.
then a little
Talk
bit.
your truth, girl.
Dennis
Shame the
Dennis.
devil.
Dennis the Menace were going. I was that bad.
Let the truth flow.
Some days I were like giving me snacks and I put my hand out. If I didn't get a snack, it was a problem. Okay.
Like the
I
Gross
want to-
sisters,
Yeah.
Proud family.
Yeah.
Not to me though.
we did go at it though.
We're
but I was
gonna
like,
we're gonna get to
oh
Dominic's
my
story.
gosh, no.
So
But Dommy and I had it beforehand. I was like, Dommy, your brother's
Yeah.
gonna defend me and not you.
Yeah.
I was
she
such a tyrant.
She's positive, Michael.
She is a delusion till this day.
All right, so
No,
talk
no,
about
no.
how that transitioned from there to
and
high
then,
school.
I felt like Samanthea came and took all of my queen bees away from me, and I was so mad at her for years. Like, I was like, where are my people? I have nobody. Ugh. And then, it really was like that. And I was so hurt. So then I went to high school and just became a wallflower because, I was bullied. And then, I was the bully. And
There we
then I
go.
got bullied. And then I just became a bystander. So, like, I really didn't sprout in high school until grade 12. That's when I was like, bootleg, Miss Congeniality. I was friends with everybody. Everybody. I was like, y'all can stay back there. Mind you, do you want to have lunch? And
Yeah.
But we're still friends. But yeah,
No,
that
for
would
sure.
be my transition. Wouldn't you guys agree at least?
Yeah, no, for sure. And then you've been through a lot.
Yeah.
Out of all of us, everybody here at this table has quite a story.
Yeah.
Shanice's story is very, very, very deep.
Is it a story or is it a novel? Should I
Yeah, you should probably
Yeah.
write a
feature
book.
film.
100%.
And we were kind of front row and center for a lot of that.
Yeah.
Talk about like how was it opening up to everybody about like what was going on behind the scenes?
Oh, well, that's really why I became a bully. I was dealing with so much behind closed doors, and I didn't really know how to, like, you talk about safe havens, and I actually didn't know how to even articulate what I was dealing with the whole time.
You were real young too, though, so that
I
made
was very young, and it was just like a lot of, more so like home stuff and everything in private, so it was just more so like I didn't know how to explain to anybody what was going on, because I thought everybody lives like peachy lives, and I was like, I don't want to be the odd one out telling everybody like I am going through some problems, right? And that actually transitioned and stayed up until legit almost my whole life. Well, we can say like high school is when, or a little bit after high school is when I started to realize that I can kind of open up. But I would say I didn't actually open up and start talking to you guys, even though we've known each other for 21 years. Until like the last 3 or 4 years that I've actually been like able to just tell you guys me as a whole.
You had a moment at Brooks Road.
Yeah.
And it's when we went from wanting to kill you all the time because we're just
we
annoying.
Yeah. That's when we started
Annoying
the choir
and
and
acting
stuff.
out.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
they-
And then
Yeah.
I don't remember what happened one recess when you had your long, what was that
The
coat
long
you used to
coat?
call her?
Oh,
The
God.
long black coat that she used to sell her drugs out of the
No
it
lie.
was Pixie Six.
Yeah.
It was Pixie
Stick. Very
Sorry,
dusty.
but-
yeah.
That's why Dominique evolved into the
Listen, that's
She
a
started.
whole
But there was a moment in
backstory.
elementary school when I think you must have had like a breaking moment, but that's when we all like really gathered around you.
I actually do remember that time, and it was a little bit of letting you guys know, hey, there is trouble in the home.
Yeah.
But like I never dwelled on it. I didn't want that to be like legit my story. So I would always like put it in the background for a lot of it. And so as we know, schools get involved and everybody gets involved. Everybody's like, oh, you're at the office for what? Oh, there's this, there's that. And it was like, dang, I gotta talk again.
No, for
I
sure.
gotta keep it down. So there was that.
So let's talk about Domi's evolution, since we're on the topic of evolution.
Evolve.
So for all of these who don't know, for all of you who don't know, Domi was the gangster. She was Chops. She was Lady Crip. And now she's First Lady Wife. So we need to talk about these transitions.
Wow.
From thugger to mother.
Hey, I like that one. I like that.
Sami, share your story.
Woo! Well, I don't even know where to start with that. I just feel like I don't know what was even my reason for being that way. I feel like, no, I know. My father, he was kind of a rough individual. And that was kind of me and my brother's way to show him like love, to make him feel proud that his children were like him.
Yeah.
So it was like natural to me to be that kind of person. But yeah, elementary school was a time. I definitely had a time where I was selling candies on the playground, like selling like crystals from lamps and chandeliers, and believe it or not, I was making money on the playground.
Braiding hair.
Yeah, I was braiding
Oh, the
hair.
hair.
All to braid hair.
Yes.
On the playground.
Listen, it really was like Brooks Road evolved me to who I am today. Like honestly, it set the tone for who I am today. But yeah, a lot happened on that playground.
It's
A
true.
lot
It was a
happened
lot
on
going
that
on,
playground.
for
Yeah,
sure.
so-
So, Robbie, and I'm going to ask you and Sammy, how do you feel like that season, like Brooks Road High School, like how do you feel like it shaped you guys? So these are the two schoolers in the group.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a good one.
Robbie has so many things going. I didn't even know she was back in school. Like, for what? Don't you have a master's? Like, and a PhD at this point? Like, I'm not really sure what's happening, but I'm just here for you, sis. I'm
Exactly.
here. So, but how do you feel like, because Brooks Road was something. So how do you feel like just the evolution and just staying friends? Like, how did that help you guys transition into like this adulthood and evolving as your independent women and finding your own path?
We had to deal with a lot at Brooks Road. So by the time we got to high school, it was like, oh, this is soft.
Been there.
We're fine.
Yeah.
This is what you
And
guys
then
are
we're like,
learning.
okay, then we can tackle the world. Sam and I had goals to not stay in Canada.
Nope.
We wanted to go to HBCU.
That was all of us.
So
Yeah.
That was
we
all of
studied
us.
in the library for
Listen.
the SAT because we're like, we got to get out of here. We cannot stay in
Yeah.
Canada. So that was,
And
I
then
guess,
right in Scarborough.
Still here. We're all still here.
but yeah, but
No,
so
we got away.
we did
For a
get
little
away.
bit. For a little
We
bit.
did a getaway, so
Still in Canada.
I definitely think Brooks Road and Cedar Bay prepared us for that. And the thing is, we had to find out a lot of the stuff on how to get where we were going on our own.
Yeah.
Because the school did not have the resources to do that for us. So they didn't know. I was applying to school in BC. They didn't even know how to do the application.
Wow.
So it was me and the guidance counselor going through everything. Because remember, we did it through that portal to go to school in Ontario. And I just said, yeah, no.
Wow.
So we had the wherewithal and we had the intention to do what we wanted to do. So we're able
Yeah.
to go.
Scholar. Excuse me.
we were able
Absolutely,
to say,
sis.
okay, if we want it, we're going to find a way to get
Yeah,
it. And
for
that's
sure.
what we did.
Yeah, I think Brooks Road built some type of resilience in you guys when it comes to the educational
Yep.
piece, because y'all it's
I agree,
different.
sis.
And how did you manage to maintain the friendships? Like, let's
I
talk
think-
about maintaining friendships.
Yeah, I think during that period, especially, like university. So when Robyn and I went away, so Robyn, I went to U of T first year. Robyn like left and went to Vancouver. I was like,
She
what
did.
The SFU, what are you doing? When I went away to McGill, I think because you had already transitioned away from home, like that's when we really got close. Like I would rely on Robyn a lot and be like, okay, I'm moving away. Like, what do I need to do? And she was like, okay, here are all the things you need to pack. And it's really funny because when we took her little cousin out
Yeah,
to
Kelowna.
Kelowna, what, 2-3 years ago now?
Three.
Oh, wow.
And then that actually, I'm just realizing the connection between that because like you prepared me to go away and then like 10 years later but anyway, like I think during that time we became very close. Robyn and I
100%.
still talk to this day because we spent, what, you were gone for 10 years? I was gone
10.
for 6 years.
Yeah.
She's still upset about it. I was gone for 6 years,
Is.
but during that time, we were so, like, we talked all the
Yeah.
time. I'd wake up in the morning, call Robyn, and, like, we're on the phone all day long.
Yeah.
And then when we moved back home, we were like, what is our friendship when we're in the same city?
We still
like,
don't
it's
know.
actually, it was weird transitioning
Yeah.
back to, like, now we can see, now we still spend more time on the phone.
Is
than we did.
right.
Because, like, that's how we formed
Yeah.
that stage of our friendship. But I think for us, and for all of us, it's like more of a sisterhood than like a friendship. And like you know how it is
Yeah.
with family, close, really close friends. You don't have to see them all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
To like have those moments. But I think what we all know of each other and what we've proven of each other, especially in the last couple of years, is that like we're there when we need each other the most.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So yeah, I think that's what that
yeah.
is.
And speaking of being there when we need each other the most. God, I didn't think I was gonna get this deep so soon. But having sisters of 21 years, we've all suffered different losses. And there was a period in time where me and Sammy were just losing everybody. And it was a lot.
10 years.
There was like a 10-year stretch where like every year we experienced like 2 to 3 major deaths. And I remember like it just took the life out of me in that season. And it made me very hard after a while when you become prone to death. But I think everything shifted. Very.
Where's the Kleenex?
Yeah. Everything shifted. Like everything shifted for me very, very quickly. When both Rob and Spence experienced close passings in their family. Robyn had lost one of her closest first cousins, and Shanice had actually lost her brother, and this was all within 3 days.
3 days? Yeah.
And this happened last year, June.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that time, I think, really I won't say it tested the friendship, it proved the sisterhood. Like it stamped that because we rallied. And when you go through such major losses, you really know who's there for you when it's like, I don't even know how to explain it, but I don't know who wants to start and talk about that period and who wants to open up about it. So do you want to go ahead, Bob?
Of course.
All right.
Of course. Yeah, so I had decided that lots of things happened in my life, and I finished all the degrees, as Amanda says. And I said, okay, you know what? It's time for me to move back. And that time, Spence and I talked a lot more. I don't know. Yeah, we're just in the season. Lots of your friends, you'll notice if you have lifelong friendships that you veer to one more than the other in different, different times of your life, right?
For sure.
So this day I'm talking to Spence. I'm like, I'm just feeling, I'm like, Spence, I want to come home, but like I'm looking at ticket prices. I'm like, $300, no thanks. But I'm like, I want to come home, and I just had an urge to spend time with my family. Couldn't tell why. I said, I just need to be back with my family. I want to plan things. I'm in the family group chat saying, hey guys, let's meet up. And I just didn't know why. And then I was, since BC has a time change, my phone goes on Do Not Disturb after a certain time. And then I got a call from one of my cousins that said, where are you? And I'm like, no, I just woke up, like, what's happening? And she told me that my cousin passed away. And I remember being on the phone like, what? And they said, yes, he was murdered. So it's not like he had any sickness. It's a very traumatic death. And he was 29. And it's one of my cousins I've had. Well, I've known him. We haven't, you lose touch with some of your cousins, but our birthdays are a week apart. So I'd always try to make sure that we're good and we communicate with one another, see if he's all good and stuff. So it just really threw me off. And I'm like, okay, I always knew I had to go back home, but I didn't know why. Anyways, I had booked the ticket maybe that week or something like that. So maybe he died on like the 2nd, and I was flying home the 5th. So it was a very, I'm like, what the heck? But I had intention to come home end of May, but I just never booked the ticket because I was being cheap. So that was rough. And then I told Spence, I was telling my friends, I'm like, guys, what? And it kind of just really shook me. I didn't really know what to do, but I'm like, there's nothing I can do from here because I'm packing up, ready to go. And that by the time my boxes are shipped back, so it's not like I was really coming home, right? So I was just it was a very weird time for me. And then I have a thing for dreams. So one day usually when someone passes, I'll see them in my dreams. And I said, okay, haven't seen him yet, but I'm sure he'll come around. And then I have a dream. And my friend Spence, since we're on the phone every day for like that year,
several days.
I'm like, okay, I'm like, if you dream about me, like, let me know. I'm like, sure. So this day, I'm like, okay, I haven't had much sleep. I fell asleep and I had a dream that I'm in a hospital ward. And I'm like, okay, weird. I'm not a nurse. and then
first.
we hear like a sound, someone say, cold blue. And I'm like, what the? Cold blue? Okay, well. And then Spencer's looking at me. She's coming. That comes around the corner in her scrubs. And I'm like, she's like, let's go. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like, you're a nurse? You do mortgages? And I do mortgages. So She was like, girl, hurry up. And so I picked that thing, you know, the thing that has all the, it's like the rolly pole, and I roll it into this room because now I'm being, I'm helping. And I couldn't figure out, so now there's this young person on the bed, and I just didn't know who this person was. And every time I try to look, it would distort. So I'm like, okay, that's not my cousin, because if it was, I would know. And I'm just like, I don't know who this is. I can't really get a look. I'm like, well, if you don't want me to see you, then I'm not gonna look at you. So then I started to make like lay come a bed, and I'm making up 2 sheets, and I'm like, okay, those hospital bed sheets. and I'm just trying to do my part because told me to get my act together. And I didn't know. I was just like, well, sure. So then I was like, okay, cool. And then I wake up. I'm not sure if we resuscitated him, but everything just kind of died down. But it was a boy, and I just didn't know who it was. Young man. And then then I'm like, okay, it's time for me to fly back out. Everybody knows I'm okay. Like, they're like, okay, Robyn, we'll see you soon, you know? I'm like, all right, guys, I'm on the plane now, and I call everybody to know I landed. And Sam was like, something's happening with Spence, and I don't know what. And I'm like, but since Spence and I are closer at that time, I'm like, okay, let me just call her, because she'll tell me what she needs. So I call her, and I just remember her picking up the phone and saying, not right now, Robyn, not right now. And I'm like, okay. So I call back Sam, and I'm like, you have to go find her, because something's actually wrong. And when I think she sent me a text,
Both of us.
sent us both a text and said, hey, Jonathan has drowned.
Yeah, my brother Jonathan.
Yeah. And I said, and at that time, I'm on my way to my uncle and my aunt's house to go to their wake for my cousin. And I'm like, say what now? And it wasn't until we're picking up chicken from Nice's to go and like bring food, to the family house. And I was in the car with my mom, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my dream. And I didn't know, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And then that's when I just I don't know what happened to me.
Yeah.
I just remember going to my uncle's house and saying, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Makes
sense.
And I ran, and I don't exactly even know how I got from Ajax to the house, but I was on the highway gone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that moment was a lot.
that was a very tough moment for all of us.
Yeah. Sammy, I was actually just went on a walk with Nikki and Melody. And Sammy, she called me, and she's losing her mind. And for me, I know when somebody's gone now, because it's been so many lost. It's like so much. I know when my mom's calling me to tell me somebody's gone. So when Samantha's talking to me, I'm just like, just tell me who it is. Like, and she's literally like, I'm going the wrong way on the highway. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm just like, Samantha, I need you to pull over, and I need you to breathe. And I had to like almost talk you down from an anxiety attack. And you just barely got the words out. And then we just landed right back in front of the house. And you said, Shawnee's dead. And I
said he drowned.
Shawnee. Yeah, you said Shawnee drowned. I said, huh? And she said, Shawnee drowned. I took my phone. I threw my phone. I started screaming.
I heard it.
I started screaming outside of my house, and I said, I have to go. And I remember just rushing, and did I call you, Domi?
I don't know.
I called you. I called Dom. Yeah. And I called Domi, and I'm like, you need to
7
get,
months pregnant.
to Spence. And it was like one of the most traumatic days in this circle's life, because that passing affected all of us.
Yeah.
Because Shawnee was like the little brother none of us had. But I want to give Spence the floor to just kind of talk about how important, because I don't want you to reminisce on the passing, because we remember Shawnee in such a beautiful way, and I know so do you. But I want you to talk about just what that moment felt like, knowing you had, because I know sometimes you didn't want to feel that. You didn't want to feel our presence there, but we stayed that day until you saw Jesus. And we prayed, and we covered you, and we loved on you. And I just want you to talk about what that felt like, knowing that even if you didn't want it, you were able to have people that loved you and had you, because that's something a lot of people don't get to experience.
I think that was like the definite, bear with me. That was the definite seal. Like, I already knew the friendship that we had and we all have individual different friendships. As you said, we don't always talk every day. We're not always there every day. I remember specifically hearing you scream outside my house, and I literally heard that scream, and I was like, that's somebody that knows my brother, because like, you know, through it all, it's very hard for me to get emotional. I always say like I'm trying to feel more, and this process has definitely helped me feel to the max. I think I was more upset that my situation had caused you, who had your family grieving, to pick up. You just got off a plane and somehow were by my side. You knowing now that you were going through all of that and you still were able to associate such a calmness. Your prayers on me were breaking every wall that I tried to put up, and it was very annoying. Because I was building and you were breaking, okay? Break every chain. I said, I was building up my walls to get everybody out, leave me alone, and you were breaking everything, okay? I was like, somebody get her home. She is pregnant, sitting on the concrete, trying to make sure that I'm okay. It was like in that moment of literally feeling like, I don't even know what I can, or how to describe what I was feeling, but it was such a loss for me, because my brother is literally my heartbeat. So like that was such a loss, and to know that you guys were literally all there, and even in everything you guys were dealing with, to literally hold me, pick me up off the ground when everybody was gone and I had my breakdown. And I think that was like the seal for me, that these girls are not just friends. They're not just sisters. Yeah, some moments we've all had where we haven't spoken. We've had disagreements.
Fake fights.
Sure.
Fake fights.
Fake breakups.
Some real ones too.
Yeah, real ones too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it was in that loss was actually the rebirth of who I am now, because I had to lose my brother in order to like take back my life, and that was the hardest thing. But like, you guys have been with me through this journey. You guys remind me, feel your feelings.
Yeah.
Make it fun. Don't like them at all. You were like, you guys, people don't even know, like I couldn't do anything and I was trying my best. These girls, I had destroyed my house a little bit. A little bit. And these girls just organized somebody to come clean up my house to help me. And I was like, there's who has friends like these? I don't have friends. I have a family. I have a sister. I have people that are going to make sure that I'm okay even when I'm trying to be okay on my own. You guys really won't allow it. And I love you all individually for it. I don't like you for it.
But that's what it is. I think that's what like real sisterhood and family is. Is just like, you may not like me in this moment, but I love you while I'm doing this. Like I'm gonna love you past this. Like, and I don't care if these are the ugliest moments of your life. I'm not gonna hold you to this. Like we are human beings, and we're not meant to be perfect. We need those spaces where we can just be our ugly, imperfect selves and still know somebody loves me and somebody's got me.
Y'all held me through that.
Listen.
Someone combed my hair for me. Like they was Dawn wash my comb and like give me a trim. Pregnant, like 8 months pregnant. And I just remember, like, I don't know if I was making sense at the time. I just remember like not being, I had finished seeing my cousin get dressed. And I remember not being able to go downstairs in the basement because I was smelling him. And I was just like, I have to get out of here. And I ran to Sam and Amanda's house. And Nikki, your sister-in-law, sat outside with me. I was like, hey, you don't find it, everything else. And I just started to bawl. It was just like a very random time. I couldn't comb my hair. And you guys combed my hair for me. And I would just never forget people who held me in that time.
Absolutely.
Like even you and I, you kept calling me like, okay, suspense, this is what's gonna happen next, okay? You're gonna have to dress him and this is what's gonna be like. And okay, make sure you have space for this. And are you okay? And I'm like, stop calling me, are you okay? We're both there,
right.
like back to back.
But that level of selfless love, I think, is so needed. Like, and that's a really beautiful thing. So let's talk about these necklaces. Okay, so if you notice, we're all wearing 1111 necklaces. And I have no idea where the origin of this started, but I'm pretty sure it was Sammy. So you can give the backstory on this 1111 stuff.
I don't even know if there's a real backstory. We just always see, there was a point in time when our chat,
all their chat,
1111,
where our chat, like we've always said, like when you see 1111, you stop and make a wish. So we started, like when we see it, we text each other. And there was a point in time, was it our chat?
Our chat, we
didn't even talk. Like we if we talk on the phone, but our text messages were just like 1111, 111, 222, make a wish, like literally just like times. And then we were actually at this venue for, what was it, Amanda? One of your other events.
The high tea brunch? Or the
No,
boss?
no,
Oh,
no.
the boss lady.
The boss lady
Yeah,
one,
the
yeah.
market.
There were
Yeah.
like a lot of vendors.
Yeah.
And right beside where you were
Yeah,
selling
the boss sips.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right Plus.
I
A
know,
little
we
commercial for
did.
Boss Sips. But right beside her booth was this lady selling
Noir
jewelry.
Essentials.
Noir
Yeah.
Essentials,
Yes.
yeah.
And she had these
Shout
11 chains, and we all just like grabbed
And she
them.
only had
At
5.
different times, 'cause I bought
And
it
we
and
bought
I
it at
didn't know
different,
the
yeah.
time.
So
Yup.
we didn't even know that we all picked it
Yeah.
up. That's
Sammy and I were together like,
Yeah.
we have to get
And then I'm like, yeah, just grab me one.
Yeah.
And then Robbie's grab Robbie one, and then Dommy just came randomly, just like, oh
I'm
my
like, I
god,
bought this.
I know.
They're like, I have that.
I really think this year was a very pivotal year in all of our lives individually. I think a lot happened in this year that shifted us, and there was a point in this year where all of us felt like we lost ourselves
Yup.
And each other.
and each other.
Yup.
And it was, I want to talk about this phone call that we had
You're gonna make me cry with this one.
literally about a week ago for Robbie's birthday.
You're saying I am not saying.
And
We were
so
stopping the tears.
me and Sammy are pastors' kids, so we've been in the church our whole lives. Spency, she's
Been on
been,
the Bible.
she knows she's
Ingrained.
Malvern Christian Assembly. Done
Malvern
Malvern. Dommy was a thug when she came along. Dommy been coming to church
Yeah.
since she was, yes,
Yeah.
and it's been a thing where we've all kind of been on our own. Funny enough, our own individual Christian
sure.
journeys.
Yeah.
Our journey, our walks with God.
Yeah.
Spency was somebody who I always dragged with me to any church I went to.
Very true.
She was my passenger seat driver.
Literally.
And I think all of us kind of came to a place in the last couple of years where we've just been dedicated to God.
Yep.
And Robbie was taking her time, but the Lord was working on her, and we were happy about it. But what we didn't know is that it was through the lives that we've been living, like unbeknownst to her, like I know, like unbeknownst to what she was taking in, like our individual lives had an impact on how she viewed God because she saw us at our worst, and we still had faith and we still had hope. So Robbie, tell people what you decided to do this year that made us
I
all.
sent a text.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said,
I'm
"I'm
ready."
ready.
Gosh.
That,
I'm
that,
like,
yes.
"Hey, you up?" And I said, I want you guys to pray. My birthday was a couple weeks ago.
There it is.
And I woke up and I'm like, I just want to pray with my friends. So I decided, I'm like, okay, guys, if you have a moment, can you just pray over me for year 30? I really want to get together and pray. Don't know why, but that's what was on my heart. And then I was like, okay, so we all found time to get together, thankfully. Thank you guys a lot. And I woke up in the morning and we all said a prayer. And I said, and I've always didn't know if I should get baptized. And I wasn't sure, and I've just been on the fence about it for a while. But I said to everybody, I'm like, look, I don't know God through a Bible. I don't know him through a church. I don't know him through any scripture of the sorts. But I see him in you all. So I was like, that's how I know that my friends, I'm like, that there has to be something there. You know what I mean? That I could rely on in this time. And then God gave me you guys. And you guys are steadfast. And you guys do not budge. And even through all of the ups and downs and the breakups, my group breakup, and then you came back. I'm like, you all are the ones that have seen me through things. So, and I've seen how he's impacted all of your lives, coming from super religious families to not at all, and finding your own way. Big up yourself, Dom. I said, okay, you know what? This is something that I want to do. And Sam and Amanda's dad has always been telling me, when are you gonna get baptized? And I always
Shout out to
Dad.
Uncle Dad.
Pastor
And
Dad.
I'm like, I don't know. But I've committed that this year that I would like him to baptize me. So
Amen.
Have you ever told him? Have you told him?
No, I didn't tell
Y'all
him.
gonna bring
Yeah.
him
He's
up?
gonna
We gotta tell him.
He's gonna be
I
so
know.
happy.
That's so important what Robyn said, because specifically about how she's come to know God through us. And that, I think every Christian,
That's the
when I
goal.
hear that, it's so beautiful because we are the church.
Yeah.
And so for your life to be a testimony,
Yeah.
it's not just something that's a song or something you say. It actually you can save lives.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Through just the way you live.
Live.
Yeah.
And honoring God in your living. So That was probably the. Oh, sorry. That was probably
That was
the
one-
most beautiful
moment
Christian
of my Christian
moment.
walk.
Yeah,
That,
like
that,
legit.
that broke me
Like
down.
when you
Yeah.
hear like you didn't have to do anything.
That's like,
you just had to
well
be,
done. Like,
and that
Yeah.
changed a person's
Well
perspective on how they view God. Like that is the gospel. Like
Well
that
done,
is
my
the
good and
goal.
faithful servant.
So
Harder
for me,
than
it was
God.
it was just like it was beautiful, and we all cried, and it was amazing. Dami, what's it like being the only married
And having
mother?
our baby.
Yeah, because her baby is
'Cause
our
she wants
baby.
more.
Our baby.
For sure.
Ava belongs to all of us.
Yeah.
So what's it like being the only mom and wife currently?
Amen. Currently.
It-
Everybody look in the camera. Currently.
In the group, like what was that like that transition? Because like when you got married, we were still all single, and having we had
All right, guys.
okay.
All right, guys.
All right, guys.
You see,
We will get to that.
I was trying, and they're not listening.
Listen,
We're gonna get there, but Dami, have your
Yeah, because we're gonna talk about your story is gonna be our breakup story. Okay, no,
okay, all right,
well,
go ahead, Dom.
so yeah, what's it been like?
Man. Okay, so first and foremost, like any chapter that you step into in life, being different and new to what you're used to is always like you're always gonna feel alone. Sometimes not understood, and that's not to do with anything with my friends. It's just you automatically assume that nobody understands you, and so with that, how I protect myself is just kind of like isolating myself.
Yeah.
I did a lot of isolating,
Yeah.
which was terrible for me actually. But you know, also being a Christian, you know that the devil loves isolation, and so that's where I think I'm my lowest point. But motherhood definitely brought me back up to one of my highest points for sure. Yeah, Ava Marie Reed,
Ava, my wee wee.
my little 1-year-old. Honestly, when I think about her, I have no words. I just know that just entering motherhood and marriage, it was difficult. I just felt alone. I felt not understood, but that was in my own head. Meanwhile, I had my sisters that were there to understand me. And the devil shook that up and didn't want me to realize what I had. So for a while, it was a very difficult and challenging time to really realize that, you know, God had placed some treasures in my life.
That's
It
good.
was beautiful.
And I think that was one thing I wanted to touch on before we get into the story to wrap it up. Like one of the things that I realized with longevity in friendships is that there's through the evolution of like there's gonna be seasons where you're just apart.
Yeah.
And it's not because even though friendships like in tribes it's all about togetherness, but there are certain seasons in life you just have to walk through by yourself. And we've all gone through seasons where we've grown apart and we're going in different directions. Like at one point I was the only entrepreneur in this group, and I felt like I couldn't talk to anybody. I'm just like, nobody gets it. Like, nobody gets that. I don't know where the money's coming from for the last 5 years. But that is what God is asking me to do. And I didn't get the 9-to-5 life holistic. I didn't get it. I didn't get there's certain things that we just don't understand due to just the reality of just not having the experience. But that doesn't neglect the fact that you still have people. And even though in this season, like your journey is to walk this by yourself, you just know that there are still people who have your back, and there's still people who are looking out for your best interest. That is a mind game that I think is really ruining people, because people want people with them in seasons where they're not called to have like. You have to go through that on your own because you have to lead the way in that area, in that friend group. You have to be the leader and the person to take the ropes, whether that's in your family, in your circle, whatever that looks like. Sometimes assignments are for one and not for all. And that reality took time because a lot of people lose friendships and abandon sisterhoods because they felt like somebody wasn't with them for a season, but they weren't supposed to be. They couldn't be your rock. You needed to lean on something bigger than you and greater than you to navigate you through a season that nobody else understands. You ever get a word from God and be like,
Sis,
I'm supposed to tell you.
Can
You're
you
gonna think I'm
translate?
crazy. You're gonna think I'm crazy. Like I'm like this doesn't make any sense. And it's just like I know it doesn't make sense to you, but this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the beauties that kept this. Let's tell our funny story, and then I want to wrap it up with
Funny.
our funny breakup story. It was. I don't know if it's funny.
Funny.
It was
It's
traumatizing.
It was
a hot
very
mess.
okay. Now it's a bit. No, it's not funny. Ma'am. Not funny.
Yeah,
Who wants
no
to give
details.
the synopsis?
Spark notes?
Yeah, Spark Notes.
Samantha, what is this purpose going to be?
I can give the spark notes.
Yeah.
The spark notes were Robyn entered into a relationship.
There you go.
Which while she was away, again, this is when she was away in Vancouver, we're all in Toronto.
Yeah.
We are little
Nobody's touching the
young selves
I'm
think
about to
we
touch
know
it
what's
right
best
now.
for everybody. Robyn, we don't want you in this relationship. And then silly old us, she's not listening to us because she's grown and doesn't have to listen to her friends. And we go and involve her parents and say, we don't want Robyn in this relationship.
It was.
And then it was,
It
and
was
by
definitely-
not involved.
It was
we-
definitely
we-
I. It
Dom
was
was not
I. I
We
sat
were
there.
sure-
I said it to the girls. I'm like, oh no, I'm not dealing with
We're
this.
calling her
I
mom.
was so mad.
I'm not dealing with
We
this.
are calling
I'm like,
her
guys,
mom.
we're calling her mom. As a matter of fact, I'm going there.
Oh, you know what's
Guys.
funny? The breakup text. Like, have fun in your life. and then they removed me from the group chat.
That is definitely that's Brooke Road
No,
energy.
you left.
I left.
Oh,
You
okay.
left the group
I'm like,
chat.
I,
Hold
I
on.
would never.
And then-
That is Brooks Road energy. Do you remember we used to say hate notes
Right.
when we were younger?
And then I called
I am
Dom,
not your
like,
friend this weekend, so you're gonna have to find
I
someone
called
else.
Dom, I'm like, Dom, what's going on?
Yeah.
And Dom's
That
like,
was my boo.
what do you
man.
mean? I'm like,
And then we went what, like a year? Almost
a year,
with
yeah,
the
at
weekend.
least, at least.
You know what?
Almost
Yeah,
a year.
it was a
Yeah.
little bit.
But that's what Amanda talked about, like where there's certain seasons you have to walk alone.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing what that made me feel like when I was able to re-enter the group, I was able to re-enter a healthier
Yeah.
And with boundaries.
and with
Yeah.
boundaries.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and what I
We
need
had to
from my
learn
friends.
what
Yes.
we,
Yeah.
where we had, and we talked about this in another episode. Like, should there does accountability have boundaries? And I think like depending on the dynamics that you're opening up about with it's like marriage, children, there are boundaries
sure.
that need to be in place.
Yeah.
So.
No.
But that's good. It was a very
It was a
interesting
very interesting
season for
It
us,
was.
but we
No,
made
we
it
made
through.
it
Well, guys, we could go forever.
really
So,
fun.
but I definitely wanted to introduce you to my longest standing circle of friends.
The BG Brooks
and
Road,
sisterhood.
girl.
Yes, I want us to go around and just give everybody, if everybody could just give one piece of advice on how to maintain longevity in friendships.
Go, Spence, you
Oh,
start.
I don't do odd numbers.
I wasn't ready.
I can start. How to maintain
Like longevity in friendships and in like to just how to get to this point.
I think to like have grace. So many things. Like one of the things is like we grew up really selfish with each other.
For sure.
And as we grew up, it was difficult for us to navigate like this person is grown and has their own life, and like I can't make decisions for them, but like I trust them to love me, to love like them, like and so that will remain the same. So there's that, but then there's also growing with each other. Like we're not the same people we were even last year.
Yeah.
So just understanding that and like changing as you grow together, and not expecting. You always want the best for
gonna
your
take all of
friends, but sorry.
Yeah, no, go
I'm
ahead.
done. You always want the best for your friends, but like you're not the maker of their lives. Like,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely,
you have
yeah.
to allow them
Yeah.
to
For
be
sure.
who they
To
are
make
and
their own
accept them
choices.
who they
For
are.
Yeah.
sure.
Like so
I would say, because I'm not doing an odd number, so and now I lose my train of thought. You see how much I chat too much? Okay.
Maybe do an odd number next
No,
time.
not even that. Thank you very much. I think for me, and when you have a large group of friends, like us, okay, there's 5 of us, it's understanding that you have different relationships with each and every friend.
Yeah.
But yet you all still friends. So sometimes I'll tell Amanda things, or
Yeah.
sometimes I'll tell Sammy things, or sometimes I'll be, oh, I'm having this, and then Dom shows up. We're like, oh shoot, didn't invite her, but it's like she's not offended. Like, what?
Yeah,
I didn't
not
get
at
an
all.
invite. It's like I knew one of you guys were gonna tell. It's like understanding that you have different relationships with each individual, and still as a whole are like literally a tribe. I
For
think
sure.
that's one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Your turn.
I would say like open communication, like honest communication, because I think for the most part, like in the beginning we'd be feeling things and like we'd always like pivot around the person we're feeling it, and like because we didn't know how to communicate, we didn't know how that person needed that communication, and we just go the safest route. But then, like when I wrote the 14-page letter, that was like a time where I'm just like, this feels good, you know. I can talk, like, even though the scenario wasn't good, like I felt how I said how I felt in the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you understood me. You didn't kill me. You knew I was going
Yeah.
through things emotionally that I couldn't
She'll
even
be back.
process. I think one of the most important things to navigating a long life friendship is being open and honest and being understanding too. Like
Yeah.
giving that same thing that you're wanting from your
For sure.
friendship.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
yeah.
I think you have to allow your relationship to ebb and flow.
Mm-hmm.
Like give room for it to not. You don't speak to people too much.
Yeah.
Dom and I don't speak very often, but the love has
Yeah.
been consistent.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that's love from grade 1
Yeah.
onward. It hasn't stopped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and allow that in your friendship. Don't panic
Yeah.
when that happens. It's supposed to change because you're changing.
Absolutely. I would say vulnerability, and that took time
Time.
because
Time.
we all had different life traumas,
Yeah,
and for some of us it took 18 of the 20 years to open up about that. But I think just allowing yourself to be vulnerable and communicating how you are, how you're growing. So I think in order to navigate long-term friendships, self-work is important.
Yes.
Yes.
And self-awareness is
Yes.
important.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know you and if you can't communicate you, nobody else can figure that out. And sometimes we can figure it out for each other. That's random sometimes. But like overall, like one thing that I can say about this circle is there's a lot of self-awareness. And
Therapy.
yeah, that part. So definitely always make sure that you're maintaining your self-awareness, your self-love, you're giving yourself care and just allowing yourself to embody what love is so that you can exude it without limitations.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
I love
Yeah.
that.
That's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yes.
Alrighty, beautiful people. So I just want to say thank you all for tuning in to this amazing episode with my BGs.
What's up, girls?
From Time G.
Why?
It's been amazing, and we'll be back with more from the Inner Circle. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.